until she saw her fiancé had married someone else. The woman tore up the marriage certificate in anger, and turned around to marry the brutal Heavenly Emperor. Everyone thought the woman who lacked a soul and couldn't cultivate would definitely be killed by the Heavenly Emperor, but they didn't know the Heavenly Emperor had waited a full 30,000 years to marry the woman. It turned out the woman was once the Heavenly Emperor's master. Back then, in order to withstand the heavenly tribulation for the Heavenly Emperor, her soul scattered, although the woman reincarnated. But because she was born missing a soul, she was actually unable to cultivate in this immortal world. Because of this, she suffered bullying from a young age. Only her sweetheart never left her side. Just when she thought she could finally be happy, who would have thought on the wedding day, he actually married her scheming younger sister. It was said the Heavenly Emperor was brutal and bloodthirsty. The parents feared the scheming younger sister would be chosen, so they had the scheming woman be the principal wife and marry together with the woman. But the woman was unwilling to be a concubine, so the scheming woman sent her flying with a palm strike, vomiting blood and collapsing. At this time, the heavenly steps suddenly ended. The woman finally realized the Heavenly Emperor had chosen her. Then the woman resolutely stepped onto the heavenly steps. The woman who had just arrived in the heavens was dressed simply, and because she couldn't cultivate, she also had no magic, so she was bullied at will by two female immortals. Then she hurriedly explained she was the immortal empress chosen by the Heavenly Emperor, but the other party laughed at her for having delusional thoughts, and used magic to tie her up, whip and beat her. At this time the woman fled in terror, but the two became more and more excited. Even when the woman was hit by a fireball and fell, the two still refused to stop. At this time the Heavenly Emperor sensed the woman was in danger, and immediately set out to receive her. At the critical moment, the Heavenly Emperor intervened, and caught her just as she was about to fall into the water. At this moment the Heavenly Emperor had already waited 30,000 years. At this time the Heavenly Emperor silently vowed, in this life he would definitely protect her. So the Heavenly Emperor heavily punished the two female immortals who bullied the woman, then carried her back to the room to treat her injuries. The Heavenly Emperor gazed at the woman's gentle appearance, couldn't help but make the old immortal sigh with emotion. The little immortal lord awaited for 30,000 years was finally about to arrive. Under the Heavenly Emperor's attentive care, the woman quickly woke up, but upon opening her eyes she was so startled she kept retreating, thinking the brutal Heavenly Emperor would punish her. Who would have thought he instead gently comforted her, and even promised to establish her as the immortal empress. Seeing the gentle Heavenly Emperor before her, the woman felt a strange familiarity welling up in her heart. Afterwards the Heavenly Emperor held a grand wedding for her, bringing her back to the place they loved in the past, using magic to conjure the firefly FSY loved most, watching her smile so innocently and brightly. So the two held hands and made a vow. In this life there would only be each other. Very quickly the woman became pregnant. To make the woman happy, the Heavenly Emperor took her to the mortal world for a change of pace, selecting clothes for her and the baby at the most expensive shops. He even booked the entire store for her. The woman originally thought her hardships were over, but unexpectedly at this time the scheming woman walked in. Seeing her favorite clothes on the woman's body, she instantly flew into AR, all because this piece of clothing was priceless. Even her husband wasn't willing to buy it for her, so the scheming woman immediately decided the woman had stolen from the immortal palace and come out to sell it. No matter how much the woman tried to explain, the scheming woman didn't believe her, then immediately wanted to take action against the woman. Fortunately the Heavenly Emperor arrived in time to save her.